Musculoskeletal diagnostic evaluation includes imaging, invasive procedures, and laboratory tests used to confirm what the assessment suggests. Musculoskeletal diagnostics fall into three categories. Structural imaging includes X-ray, CT, MRI, contrast studies, and DEXA scans. Direct visualization and tissue analysis includes arthroscopy, arthrocentesis, EMG, and biopsy. Serum and biochemical testing includes blood studies and bone turnover markers. Across all three, the nursing role is the same: prepare the patient, support them during the procedure, and monitor for complications afterward. X-ray is the first-line study for bone. It evaluates density, erosion, structural changes, spurs, joint narrowing, and healing over time. CT provides detailed cross-sectional imaging and is especially useful for soft tissue, ligaments, tendons, tumors, and occult fractures. CT with contrast is commonly used in complex trauma. MRI uses magnets and radio waves with no radiation and is the best study for muscles, ligaments, cartilage, discs, and pelvic or hip pathology. MRI is highly sensitive to metal, so screening for implants is essential. MRI requires careful nursing screening because missed contraindications can be dangerous. Pacemakers, cochlear implants, certain clips, and other metal implants may move, heat, or malfunction in the magnetic field. Remove all jewelry, hearing aids, hair clips, and transdermal patches with metal backing before the scan. Educate patients about the loud noises and long scan time, and screen early for claustrophobia because some patients may need sedation. Always assess for pregnancy and positioning limitations before the procedure. Arthrography and bone scans use very different techniques and nursing care. Arthrography injects contrast into a joint to identify tears or abnormalities. After the procedure, rest the joint for 12 hours, apply ice and compression, and teach patients that temporary clicking or crackling is normal. Bone scans use an IV radioactive tracer that collects in metabolically active bone, highlighting tumors, fractures, osteomyelitis, necrosis, or degeneration. Before the scan, assess for pregnancy or breastfeeding, encourage hydration, have the patient empty their bladder, and explain that flushing or warmth during injection is expected. Bone densitometry measures bone loss and tracks osteoporosis progression. DEXA is the gold standard and evaluates the spine, hip, wrist, or total body using T-scores. A T-score above -1 is normal. Between -1 and -2.5 is osteopenia, and -2.5 or lower is osteoporosis. Peripheral DEXA scans are less accurate for predicting hip and spine fractures. Nursing care includes explaining the meaning of T-scores, why scans are repeated over time, and how calcium, vitamin D, exercise, and lifestyle changes can slow bone loss. This section shifts from non-invasive imaging to invasive diagnostics. With invasive procedures comes increased risk for infection, bleeding, nerve injury, and vascular compromise. Nursing responsibilities become more intensive before, during, and after the procedure. Joint procedures, neuromuscular testing, and biopsies all require knowledge of indications, contraindications, patient preparation, and post-procedure monitoring. The nursing role is active, not observational. An arthroscopy and arthrocentesis both enter the joint, but for different purposes. Arthroscopy is a sterile surgical procedure using a fiber optic scope to visualize, diagnose, and treat joint pathology, including biopsies, repairs, and loose body removal. Arthrocentesis uses a needle to aspirate synovial fluid for analysis or pain relief. Normal synovial fluid is clear and straw-colored. Bloody, cloudy, or purulent fluid is abnormal and may indicate trauma, inflammation, or infection. Post-joint procedure care follows 3 phases. In the first 12 hours, elevate the limb, maintain prescribed positioning, apply compression, and give antispasmodics if ordered. During the first 24 to 48 hours, use ice to reduce inflammation and administer prescribed analgesics and antibiotics. Ongoing care focuses on CMS assessment, circulation, motion, and sensation distal to the procedure site. Teach patients that mild soreness, swelling, or clicking may be expected, but fever, increasing swelling, bleeding, numbness, tingling, or cool skin must be reported immediately. EMG and muscle biopsy evaluate nerve and tissue function rather than structure. EMG measures muscle and nerve electrical activity to distinguish nerve disorders from muscle disorders and evaluate weakness or unexplained pain. Avoid lotions before the test, use warm compresses for comfort, and know that anticoagulation or skin infection may prevent testing. Muscle biopsy removes tissue from muscle, bone, marrow, or synovium for definitive diagnosis of myopathies and inflammatory disease. After biopsy, monitor for pain, bleeding, swelling, and infection, and teach patients to report redness, fever, chills, or worsening pain. This section shifts to laboratory diagnostics, the biochemical markers of musculoskeletal disease. Labs do not replace imaging or procedures. They complete the picture. Different lab patterns point to different disorders. Joint pain with elevated inflammatory markers and positive rheumatoid factor suggests inflammatory disease, while elevated alkaline phosphatase may point to increased bone turnover or bone pathology. Understanding these markers is essential in musculoskeletal assessment and diagnosis. 6 key biomarkers help complete the musculoskeletal picture. Calcium and phosphorus usually move inversely, and calcium abnormalities may signal osteomalacia, parathyroid disease, tumors, or immobility. Elevated urine calcium suggests active bone destruction. Acid phosphatase rises in Paget disease and metastatic bone cancer. Alkaline phosphatase increases with fracture healing and osteoblastic activity. Creatine kinase and AST rise with muscle injury, but CK is more specific for muscle damage. Osteocalcin reflects overall bone turnover and increases with accelerated remodeling. Bone turnover markers show whether bone formation or bone breakdown is dominant. Formation markers like bone-specific alkaline phosphatase, osteocalcin, and P1NP reflect osteoblast activity and new bone formation. Resorption markers like urinary N-telopeptide and deoxypyridinoline reflect osteoclast-driven bone breakdown. These markers help monitor osteoporosis treatment. Patients on bisphosphonates should show decreasing resorption markers within weeks. If levels do not decrease, treatment adherence or effectiveness should be questioned. This nursing protocol applies to every diagnostic procedure. First, screen and prepare by assessing for pregnancy, anticoagulant use, contrast allergies, metal implants, hydration status, positioning limits, claustrophobia, and anxiety. Next, assist and support during the procedure through positioning, comfort measures, and ordered analgesia or sedation. Finally, monitor and educate after the procedure with neurovascular checks, bleeding and infection surveillance, and clear teaching on expected recovery versus warning signs. This process continues until the patient is safely discharged. Musculoskeletal diagnostics combine imaging, invasive procedures, and laboratory testing, with nursing care connecting all three. Nurses screen for contraindications before imaging, prepare and support patients during procedures, collect and monitor lab data, and assess for complications afterward. Diagnostic accuracy depends on combining structural imaging, tissue analysis, and biochemical markers, and the nurse is the clinical bridge that keeps the entire process safe and effective.